First of all, congratulations to you all, the class of 2017, and thank you to the Alumni Association and the MTEF for giving me this award. Thank you to Gary Johnson for nominating me, and I'm proud that my parents, Bob and Ethel, are here, my wife Lisa, my brother Kyle is here as well today. And so I wanted just to make a few remarks, and as a teacher and a coach, hopefully leave you with a few take-home points, a few things you can apply that'll be useful going forward, because being 17 or 18 or 19 and heading out into the real world, it's challenging and exciting, and certainly you all have a unique and wonderful journey ahead of you. I only want to briefly reflect back for a few minutes before I get to those three take-home points. And it's been exactly 35 years since I was sitting where you are. Not literally, but since I was graduating as part of the class of 1982. It's so long ago I kind of struggled to put myself back in that seat and know exactly what you're feeling, but I'm sure you're feeling great and relieved and perhaps anxious and excited as well. In preparing for this talk, I paged through this last night. You guys, I imagine, all have a copy of this. My boys are students at Township. My older boy Cameron is in 10th grade. My younger son Jonathan in 9th grade. So they're just getting started. And but I picked up their yearbook and paged through it and kind of wanted to get a sense of who you all were and what kids are into these days. I mean, I know what my kids are into, but of course we're all a little different and into unique things. And from paging through the book as a group and as individuals, you guys are really cool. So much cool stuff going on. And I think way cooler than I was 35 years ago. I came with a PowerPoint presentation. I'm a teacher, I'm a coach. So if Greg would hit the slide here, this is what I looked like my senior year in high school. And yes, Manheim Township had a gymnastics team back in 1982. And I think this photo was shot in the old gymnasium. I guess today, is that the South Gym? Is that what they call that? And so I was part of the gymnastics team. And, I guess, by the way, I don't know, has anybody seen the movie Napoleon Dynamite? Is that? I was a little cooler than Napoleon Dynamite, but in any case, I was paging through the yearbook and I was seeing, most likely to this and best at that, seeing all the people that were selected for those various awards. One that was missing that I couldn't find in your book is least likely to win the Manheim Township Distinguished Alumni Award. That is what I was selected in my senior yearbook. Now, I'm kidding about that, of course, but my point is I was a pretty unremarkable high school student. I was smart, but not the smartest, and I had some chops athletically, but I wasn't the best athlete, and I wasn't as good looking, and didn't have hair like Hunter Severe, and Hunter's a great guy. My boys look up to, they play football, and of course there's a group of football players in this, sitting out here, and there he is, there's Hunter. And my boys really look up to the seniors in this class. Alex Wade, there's a number of the senior football players, I can't name them all, but I want to thank you guys for inspiring the younger boys in the football team. That's something every one of you should always know. There's always a younger student, somebody below you who looks up to you, and that you're kind of a role model for. And I think my older son Cameron, who's in 10th grade, Hunter's his role model because Cameron has a man bun growing that didn't exist before he knew Hunter, so thank you. In any case, reflecting back, when I was in high school, I was known for two things. I was into meteorology, I was into the weather. I was kind of a weather geek. And I was into rock climbing, which back then was totally an unknown activity. If not for my brother, there wouldn't have been any rock climbing or rock climbers in Lancaster County, because my older brother and myself were about it, with one or two other exceptions. So weather and rock climbing, the two sides to Eric Hörst as a 18-year-old, not very cool, not very popular. But fast forward 35 years, weather is everywhere. We all walk around with iPhones that have weather apps on them. You can call up the radar. Siri can tell you what the weather is going to be in Lancaster. There's the Weather Channel. Weather is on the front page of the newspaper and the news daily. It's reality television weather. And of course, rock climbing is now a major sport. There's a climbing gym in every city in the country. Climbing gyms didn't exist 35 years ago. I'm sure some of you have tried your hand at rock climbing. It's a really wonderful activity. And actually, rock climbing is going to debut in the Olympics in 2020. I won't be competing, I don't think. But in any case, that's exciting to see what was a niche sport, so small that nobody in my high school got it back then, but today it's a pretty big sport. And so I was kind of lucky. I had two passions back when I was your age that I was able to follow and kind of give me a trajectory. And as Ernie mentioned, kind of almost parallel careers. I had a plan A and a plan B. And so I feel very lucky about that, to have those two things that have given me an identity and a career. So I guess the first bottom line is to follow your passions. No matter how uncool they may seem today, like my meteorology and rock climbing over 35 years ago, things change over time. So in the years, since I've spent a lot of time studying human performance. As a meteorologist, perfection is unattainable. As a meteorologist, you get it wrong sometimes. That's the nature of the business. But you're always trying to improve your game. And as a rock climber, the same thing. I've climbed cliffs all over the United States and world, and I've fallen, and my rope has caught me, and instead of giving up, I go back up and try again, and eventually, in most cases, I succeed in completing my climb. So I've become pretty good at identifying obstacles and coming up with strategies to overcome them. And I've done a lot of writing over the years and written some books, and so again, as a teacher and a coach, I wanted to give you a couple of take-home points, something that you can apply and relate to. So if you go to the next slide, I'm going to give you 3 tips for success and happiness. Of course, there's a myriad of different tips and techniques you could be given by your parents or your mentors or teachers or someone like myself. And so here are 3 that I've identified that I've actually written extensively about over the years. Number 1, the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your thoughts. You can literally think yourself to success or failure, happiness or despair. Whatever you focus on grows. So if you focus on your problems, if you focus on what you're lacking, that is what's going to grow in your life. If you focus on what you have, if you focus on your assets, if you focus on your goals, that is what will grow and what will become your reality. So it's vital to keep the mental images and that internal dialogue, that self-talk that is always chattering in our heads, keep it positive. And as I like to say, go on a diet, a mental diet devoid of negativity and criticism. Be a doer, not a critic. Those tend to be mutually exclusive things. And these days, especially in the media world we live in, there's a lot of critics out there, and they create nothing. The doers of the world, they're too busy doing to be critics. So in many cases and positions in our life, you'll be confronted with an opportunity to be a doer or to be a critic, and be the doer. Tip number 2, to really have a clarity of your values and your goals and have a clear purpose for living. Make that the foundation from which you will live a rich life and have many transcending experiences. And knowing your goals, knowing your values, knowing what your purpose is, makes decision-making pretty easy. You know, especially at your age, the next few years, you're going to be faced with some big decisions, tough decisions. Should I do this or that, A or B? And whenever you're confronted with one of those A-B choices, if you reflect on what your core values are, who your parents raised you to be, what Manheim Township taught you, and what your goals are, what your passions are, usually choosing between A and B will become pretty obvious. So again, ask yourself, what are those core values? What's your purpose? What is that mega goal, that thing you're reaching for in the future? Develop a game plan, take action. Of course, you'll need to make course corrections along the way, because you never get straight from here to there. It's a circuitous route, oftentimes. And when in doubt, just believe. And finally, the third tip, there will be obstacles and adversity along the way, but they are there to make you stronger and to actually help you find your path to the mega goal, because it's not a straight line. So, you have to remember that success and growth are found on the far side of those obstacles and the adversity and what seem to be apparent failures, which are, in most cases, just temporary setbacks. So embrace the challenges that you're faced with as opportunities for growth, for elevating your life. Like stressing a muscle with a workout, or getting stressed in a classroom with a tough exam or lesson. It's those stressors, those obstacles, those adversities, and those opportunities for failure, things that can make you fearful. Those are actually the moments where growth occurs. So you want to embrace those opportunities. So those are Hörst's 3 tips for hopefully being successful going forward. I really look forward to seeing what each and every one of you will do in the coming years, 35 years from now. I'm sure you'll look back and have a wonderful journey behind you. So thanks again for the nomination and for the award, and congratulations to the class of 2017.
If there's one thing that I think we can learn from all 3 of these winners, it's that none of them ever expected to be up here. And I certainly didn't expect to be here doing this 50 years ago. And what that means